Oh, I am sure the title of this video has pissed some people off already. Some metalheads can be very territorial when they think they've sniffed out a suspected poser in their midst. But before some of you faceplant into the comment section to vigorously misspell how I'm an idiot, a moron, don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm not a real metalhead, and all of those adorable kind of things, let me assure you that the purpose of this video is not to tear down metal culture in any way, but to point out a flaw within metal culture that has allowed some big problems to develop over time. Headbang the like button, stage dive onto the subscribe button, and windmill the video to your friends. And if you're a fan of this channel, consider becoming a member. Memberships start at just 99 cents a month, and each one really helps me towards starting the first metal festival on the moon. And with that said, let's talk about blind loyalty and metal. Metalheads are known for being incredibly loyal creatures when it comes to their music and culture. Metal fans aren't like normal music fans, who have maybe one t-shirt of their favorite artist that they bought at Target, and their favorite song is whatever the current hit is. Metal fans live for metal, they breathe for metal, they bleed metal. They show up to every concert 6 hours early just to be the first people on the rail. They spend their entire life savings on concert tickets and band t-shirts. They carve Slayer into their arms and get their entire back covered in Iron Maiden tattoos. They loudly share their love of metal with their neighbors who hate them. They miss their daughter's high school graduation so they can go see Exodus for the 70th time because she's a fucking poser anyway. The loyalty of metal fans is an immensely powerful energy that's kept the culture alive and well for so long, enduring various mainstream fads and hordes of uppity parents demanding that their little long hair misfit grow out of that awful loud noise. A metalhead doesn't want to just see a band once. They want to go to every tour, buy every piece of merch, bow to their heavy metal overlords. They want to learn how to play themselves and start their own bands, and spend their entire lives basking in a never-ending oasis of heavy metal. Most subcultures have a few diehards who are far more obsessed with it than most people are, but when it comes to metal, I think it's fair to say that most of its fans are proud, lifelong devotees, brothers and sisters of metal. It's a special trait among metalheads that keeps the community alive. Bands aren't just artists whose songs we like. They're our gods, our heroes, our reason to live, which isn't itself a bad thing. I completely understand the power of art and the impact it has on people. And it's genuinely awesome when fans do come together for a shared cause or interest. I've talked many times on this channel how incredible metal festivals can be and the magic they bring to fans. Joyously celebrating the songs that mean so much to you, along with thousands of fans who feel the same, it's incredible and it's beautiful and I love it. But something that's been on my mind for quite a while now is how this sense of devote loyalty and the passion of rock and metal fans can and has, unfortunately, often been taken advantage of by greedy pricks who don't give a shit about them. And how ignoring this because talking about it is somehow considered to be not metal by many people has allowed major problems to fester and grow and breeds an environment that royally screws over a lot of fans, bands, and workers. Ask anyone that works in the metal industry and they will tell you that there's some assholes in the business. Assholes that most people are too scared to call out in fear of ramifications toward their jobs. Now that's not to say that everyone in the industry is one. Certainly not. There are amazing people who work within the metal industry. But it is really no secret that there are assholes in the industry that are CEOs, businessmen, promoters, artists, label owners, and pretty much everything else. I'm sure everybody who's watching this video has had at least one job where the boss was a major dickhead, but everyone was too scared to say anything and didn't want to ruffle any feathers. It's just easier to go with it and not put a target on your back. Well, unfortunately, it's the same when it comes to metal. But if no one points out what needs to be improved, then how are things ever supposed to improve? A prime example of what I'm talking about is the monumental implosion that was Blue Ridge Rock Festival. To very quickly recount what happened at Blue Ridge this year, pretty much everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. Bathrooms were disgusting, lines were taking hours, prices were insane, workers were mistreated, bands and crews were dicked around. You know what happened there, and if you don't, you can check out my video on Blue Ridge to see the details of it. When Blue Ridge collapsed, people took to social media to let out their anger and frustration and to let people know what happened. When Blue Ridge posted official statements lying about what happened, people took to the comment sections to rightfully call them out on it. And many of them were faced with backlash from other people, many of whom weren't there, telling them to stop whining, that they were just pussies that couldn't handle a festival, that it's not metal and lame to complain about a festival. And people just blindly defending Blue Ridge, saying things like, they can't control the weather, why would you be mad at them for that? They did their best to give you a great show and it's not cool to be mad at them. It sucks, but they tried their best, couldn't help it, I'll see you next year. We gotta support them anyway, cause metal. And all of these kinds of things. So metal fans who just traveled from very far away, paid a lot of money just to see their favorite bands, who all just wanted to headbang and rock out together, get completely screwed over, ripped off, put in danger, and just all around taken advantage of, but them saying all that is somehow considered to be not metal to some people. Isn't metal supposed to be about being true and standing up for yourself, being strong, looking out for your fellow metalheads and not taking any shit from anybody? But when a giant asshole takes a massive shit all over metal fans, you're supposed to not talk about it and just support them anyway, or you're not metal. Where does the standing up for yourself and your fellow metalheads part come in? Wouldn't it be considered metal to warn other metalheads of an asshole that's trying to take advantage of them? How is it metal to let dickheads take advantage of us? If I walked into a concert and saw that there was a tiger in there mauling the shit out of everybody, and I ran outside and bumped into my friends who were just arriving, and I said to them, hey guys, don't go in there, there's a fucking tiger mauling the shit out of everybody, would that make me a poser, not metalhead who just can't handle it? Probably. On every single video I've made that said something negative about a festival, whether it was the shitty mismanagement of Sick New World, or Metal Days refusing to refund their fans for years, giving them endless excuses while they've been funneling the money to Zanzibar, or Blue Ridge for just being such a disaster in every single way that bands, fans, workers, employees, pretty much everyone who was there has spoken out about it, or even the Things at Metal Festivals That Suck video, where I repeatedly state that I love festivals. I always get a few comments from people saying that me pointing these things out means that I just hate metal, that I'm too weak for a festival, or that I'm just being a Karen and expect too much, or even that I'm somehow hurting the metal scene by saying these things, because apparently some people's definition of being metal means blindly accepting whatever shit is thrown at you with a smile on your face and never expressing a dissenting opinion. Don't ever say something was bad or you're a poser, which I just do not understand at all. Just because you love music doesn't mean that you should have to put up with bullshit just to experience it. Lemmy from Motorhead is my biggest hero in music. To me, he is the pinnacle of rock and roll badassery. I fucking love Motorhead. But if Lemmy had done something that was blatantly fucked up to his fans and screwed them over, I would have still called him out on it despite how much of a fan I am. Which thankfully, as far as I know, never happened because Lemmy was awesome. But unfortunately, not every band is as cool as Lemmy, and there are some bands out there that happily use their fans' dedication to their advantage. Now, I think it's fantastic when fans want to willingly donate their hard-earned money to help out their favorite artist. I have no problem with that. This scene is supposed to be all about support. But it is a bit of a well-known secret that some bands aren't being totally honest to their audiences when they're begging for support. Not everyone. I'm definitely not saying that every band that holds a donation campaign does this, but some artists will ask for far more money from their fans than they actually need for their promised campaign. Some bands have launched desperate sounding campaigns, asking fans to donate so the band can survive another day to make another album, and if the fans don't pull through, then that's it, the band just can't do it. And the fans will rally together screaming, "Our metal brothers need our help! Right now! Right now!" When some of those artists might just be pocketing some extra money for themselves. Like Wintersun and their years-long cycle of them asking fans for thousands of dollars in donations for an album that they have showed absolutely no progress on in over 17 motherfucking goddamn years. In 2012, Wintersun released the album Time One, which was received extremely well and got most of the metal world to hop right on their nutsacks. People were praising Wintersun for such an incredible album, and bandleader Yari was hailed as a god amongst metal musicians. And Yari was more than happy to take full full advantage of his new devotees. His promised follow-up album, Time 2, was initially planned for release in 2013, nearly 1 year after that first album came out, and after 10 years and $500,000 later, Time 2 has still not been released. Which gets even worse when you realize that he first started working on the album in 2006. Yari has had endless excuses over the years, claiming that the album is so grandiose and so magnificent that it requires no less than a supercomputer powered by the ghost of Nikola Tesla to even record it. The album is so exquisite that it can only be recorded if the loyal Wintersun family donate their hard-earned money so Yari can build his own personal fucking house, complete with a kitchen, bedrooms, studio, and the ever necessary studio sauna. You band people out there know just how vital and necessary it is to have a sauna in your recording studio when you're making an album. And fans did donate $500,000 because metal. Gotta support your metal brothers. For a decade now, Yari has lived a comfortable life and spoiled himself by taking advantage of his most devout fans, who are still waiting to hear the album they were promised when they were teenagers, while coasting off of his work from over 10 years ago. And I'm sure, even on this video, I'm gonna get a few comments from Wintersun loyalists saying things like, "Stop bitching, bro, the album will come out when it's ready, it's worth the wait, bro, he's doing his best." As I said before, I fully understand and respect loving a band and their music so much that you're willing to spend money, travel, donate, buy their merch, support in any way you can. But that doesn't mean that you should let someone fuck you over because of that. I think back to the first episode of Metalocalypse when Deathclock performed the Duncan Hills coffee jingle. Thousands of Deathclock fans travel to the North Pole, many of whom get killed, all to see Deathclock perform just one song. It's a hilarious scene, but a lot of metal fans have that type of mentality, where seeing a band live is worth anything, even if it means that they, and maybe even the band, are getting screwed over for it. I understand that in the world of live music and touring, there's so many factors and moving pieces involved that accidents and mistakes are going to happen eventually, even to the best crews out there. Not everything that goes wrong or doesn't work out is the cause of someone's deliberate malice. And that's where the strength of the loyalty of Metalheads is great. It can rain at a festival, or a band can get sick last minute and have to cancel, or they can get in a car accident and need to ask for support. Shit can happen sometimes, and when it does, metal fans really can come together and show incredible support. But a hard truth about the metal world that most people don't want to say out loud, but I'm going to, is that metal does encourage standing up for yourself and your fellow metalheads and not taking any shit from anybody unless that person has a stage. If they have access to a stage, or can put you on tour, or can get you some type of connections in the industry, you had better shut the fuck up and swallow it real quick. You wouldn't want to burn any bridges, would you? If a promoter rips you off and fucks over your band, you better just swallow it and not say anything, or maybe you don't get to play on other festivals. If the higher-ups at a major record label are screwing their employees over, you better keep quiet about that, or you might find yourself blacklisted from the industry. You should be grateful to even have this dream job in the first place. Now shut the fuck up, go out there and tell the audience how badass you are. We live in a time where concert tickets cost more than ever, yet most artists are struggling to tour. Fans go broke, spending all of their monies into the ever-growing purgatory that is service fees, while bands can barely afford to tour, and companies like Live Nation and Golden Voice just get richer and richer. Another example of what I'm talking about is the Power Trip Festival that just happened here in California. This festival had the most outrageous prices I have ever seen in my life. They only sold full weekend tickets, there was not an option to buy single day ticket, and the cheapest one was over $600 and got you in the very back, where you needed a screen to even see the bands. To be in the pit where pretty much everybody wants to be was over $1,500 a person. The reason that these prices were so insane is simple. Golden Voice knew people would pay it, and they did. This event was way more successful than I thought it would be, and I get it, I would have loved to have seen most of those bands. I understand loving an artist so much that you're willing to pay a lot of money to see them And I think that's great. But just because you're willing to, I don't think should mean that you should have to. Especially when a lot of that money isn't even going to the artist, it's going to the business dicks anyway. Make no mistake, greedy business people will happily take advantage of your devotion. They can keep increasing prices and adding more bullshit fees, doubling the price of the already inflated concert ticket. But that timer's counting down and you don't want to miss out on seeing your heroes, do you? Pressure and anxiety is bubbling up within until you just click that purchase button, take a deep breath as you digest the amount of money you just spent, but then you are overcome with excitement to go to the show. It's worth it for metal. And maybe it is. Maybe you go to the show and it's one of the best shows you've ever seen and you're so happy you went. That is awesome. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of that money that you just justified spending isn't even going to the band or crew. Now, I understand that the metal business is a business, and there's a lot of factors involved, a lot of people at all different levels, and they all have to get paid for their work. I completely understand that. But this notion of don't complain or you're not metal gives cause to fuck over a lot of these people too. I'm sure everyone in the metal industry who is watching this video has been discouraged from calling out some corrupt asshole on their bullshit because that's just how it is and you should just be happy to have this job in the first place. The privilege of access is dangled in front of their faces and they better shut up and swallow the bullshit. Call me crazy, but I have this radical, insane, just absolutely bonkers belief that a business can operate both successfully and honestly, especially one that espouses brotherhood, family, and personal strength so much. And if it was, I think pretty much everyone in and around the metal industry would be much happier and better off. On the band side of things, I just think you shouldn't take advantage of your loyal fans who are generous enough to give you a career. There are plenty of musicians out there who are great people and awesome to their fans, but there are also some who only see their fans as dollar signs, and that is not very metal to me. And metalheads in general just need to be more aware of sneaky business strategies and greedy assholes using your devotion to metal to screw you over. That's not to say that every issue that arises was intentional and malicious, but when people are clearly being screwed over or lied to, it should be encouraged to call that shit out. Or if an issue is innocent but persistent and has been causing problems, it shouldn't be considered not metal to go, hey, this thing fucking sucks, but it could be better. If metal is so strong and empowering and about being a family and brotherhood, then it should be strong enough to call out corrupt bad actors when they appear, accept hearing constructive criticism from each other, and support critical thinking. That's the whole goal here on my channel, to be honest. Talk about the good and the bad sides of being a metalhead. I aim to be fair in my videos, and I try not to bash something more than it deserves. If a shitty festival did something that was cool, I'll mention that. If a band that I don't like did something really awesome, I'm gonna mention that. If a band that I love did something really shitty, I'm gonna mention that. If a festival promoter refuses to refund their fans, or puts on a disaster of a festival and fucks over thousands of people, I'm gonna mention that. There is enough metal content out there that mindlessly just praises everything and wouldn't dare mention an issue with anything in the culture in fear that they won't get invited and given access to places anymore. And if that's what you want and you want to pretend like everything is sunshine and rainbows all the time, then you can go read that bullshit. But this all clearly is just my opinion, and I very much want this to be a discussion, and I'd love to hear what you all think about this topic. Do you agree with some of the points I'm making here? Do you disagree with some of the points I'm making here? Do you think metal fans should just be happy and take whatever's given to them? Am I just a giant pussy and not a real metalhead and just can't handle it? Let me know in the comments below. For more from me, check out my band Dark Insanity on Instagram and here on the channel. We've got our first recordings coming up very soon, and we're playing our next show December 8th at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in Hollywood, and we'll be playing the Tolminator Festival next year in Slovenia. Can't fucking wait. If you liked the video, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe even becoming a member if you like. Shout out to my Rockstar members for helping support the channel. You guys are awesome. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you on the next video.